The first bullet took Caleb Vance's eye at Gettysburg. The second shattered his faith at Chickamauga. By war's end, the Union Army's finest marksman was a hollow-eyed drifter with a leather eye patch and a reputation that followed him like a shadow. Caleb hadn't planned on stopping in Redemption Creek. The tiny Dakota Territory settlement wasn't even on most maps. But when his horse threw a shoe 5 miles out, walking became his only option. The trading post appeared first, a substantial log structure with a faded Blackwood Trading Company sign. Unlike the buildings visible in the distance, it stood dark and abandoned. As he approached town, wagons rattled past, loaded with household goods and grim-faced families. "Town's dying," explained the blacksmith when Caleb finally reached his shop. "Ever since Old Man Blackwood was killed and the trading post closed." "Killed?" Caleb inquired, more from habit than interest. "Ambush, they say. 3 months back. Indians got blamed, of course, but Blackwood traded fair with the tribes for 20 years without trouble." "Convenient timing," Caleb observed, noting the quality buildings. "Town looks prosperous enough." Silas snorted. "Was, until the Hudson Bay Company moved in right after, bought up half the businesses already, offering folks pennies on the dollar now that the trading post ain't competing." While the blacksmith worked, Caleb observed more carefully. Redemption Creek had the bones of a settlement meant to last, yet the signs of decline were unmistakable. "What happened to Blackwood's place?" he asked as Silas finished. "Company tried to buy it, but couldn't. Turns out Blackwood left it to his niece, city girl from back east. She arrived last month, took one look, and locked it up tight. Won't sell, won't open it, won't leave." The blacksmith shrugged. "Folks say she's touched, talks to herself, gathers plants at odd hours." That evening, drawn to the abandoned trading post, Caleb noticed a flicker of light from an upper window. A woman's silhouette appeared briefly, then vanished deeper inside. Morning brought opportunity. The hotel owner mentioned that the Blackwood woman was seeking protection. "Said she needs someone who knows how to handle trouble," he explained. "Pays in gold, apparently." Curiosity drove Caleb to the trading post's heavy door. 3 solid knocks produced no immediate response, but he felt the weight of observation through a concealed viewport. Finally, the door opened to reveal a woman unlike any Caleb expected. Eleanor Blackwood was perhaps 30, with intelligent eyes and composed demeanor. She wore a man's gun belt with the confidence of someone who knew how to use it. "Mr. Vance," she said, his name clearly not a question. "I've been expecting you." The statement caught him off guard. "Have you now?" "Word travels quickly in dying towns," she replied, "especially when the visitor is a one-eyed veteran with a reputation for accuracy under pressure." Inside, the trading post belied its abandoned exterior. The living quarters were meticulously organized. Maps covered one wall, marked with precise notations. Shelves held books on medicine to metallurgy. A table supported botanical specimens, carefully labeled. "You're not what I expected," Caleb admitted as she offered real coffee. "Nor you, Mr. Vance. Your reputation suggests a man consumed by violence, yet your eye shows more weariness than bloodlust." She studied him clinically. "You're here because you need money, but also because you're curious." "And what exactly would I be doing?" Eleanor gestured toward the maps. "My uncle wasn't killed by Indians. He was murdered because he discovered something valuable, something certain interests would prefer remained buried. I need protection while I complete his work." "I'm no bodyguard." "No, you're a hunter. You track, position, eliminate threats from a distance. That's precisely what I require." "You seem to know a great deal about me." "My uncle kept detailed records on everyone significant who passed through these territories. You were mentioned several times, first as a sharpshooter of exceptional skill, later as a bounty hunter who brought in more live captures than bodies." She paused. "He also noted your increasing reliance on whiskey." "What makes you think I'm interested?" "Because you haven't walked away yet," Eleanor replied simply, "and because I'm offering something beyond money, purpose." The word struck deeper than Caleb cared to admit. Purpose had abandoned him on blood-soaked battlefields. "What did your uncle discover?" he asked finally. Eleanor hesitated. "A convergence of interests. The Hudson Bay Company isn't about fur trading or merchandise. They're a front for something connected to the railroad survey and the Lakota peace negotiations." She unrolled a larger map. This region contains something valuable enough that a major corporation is eliminating anyone who might interfere. My uncle was first. I believe I'm next. Gold? Caleb suggested. Something potentially more valuable. Coal. Vast deposits, if my uncle's surveys are correct. Enough to fuel the railroad's western expansion for decades. And Hudson Bay is acquiring land rights before anyone realizes what lies beneath. Precisely. They've offered to buy me out 3 times. When I refused, the threats began. What kind of threats? Warnings from concerned citizens. Vandalism. 2 nights ago, a fire at the rear entrance. She met his gaze directly. The next step is typically more permanent. $5 a day plus expenses, he said finally. I provide security, not offensive operations. $15 a day, she countered. And I expect you to defend this property and my research with whatever means necessary. The sum was suspiciously generous. Where is this money coming from? A ghost of a smile touched her lips. My uncle was an exceptional businessman. The Blackwood Trading Company has investments stretching from St. Louis to San Francisco. She extended her hand. Do we have an agreement? Caleb hesitated briefly before shaking. We do, though I suspect I'll regret it. Most of my arrangements end in mutual regret, Mr. Vance. It's the nature of necessary alliances. Caleb moved into the trading post, taking a room with clear sightlines to all approaches. He noted the building's defensive features, gun ports disguised as decorative elements, reinforced shutters, multiple escape routes. Eleanor spent mornings studying her uncle's journals, afternoons gathering plants, and evenings conducting experiments in a small laboratory. My uncle believed in the medicinal properties of native plants, she explained when Caleb inquired. I'm continuing his research. Most women pursue more conventional interests. Most women haven't watched their parents die of diseases that modern medicine couldn't treat, she replied without looking up. I studied at a women's medical college in Philadelphia. My interests are perfectly conventional for someone who values knowledge over tradition. Their routine established quickly. Caleb maintained vigilant watch while Eleanor continued her research, occasionally sharing discoveries that demonstrated impressive knowledge of botany and chemistry. The threats materialized within days. First came Hudson Bay Company representatives, 3 men in expensive suits whose polite words barely concealed their frustration at Eleanor's continued refusal to sell. That night brought the first serious intimidation attempt. 3 riders approached after midnight, carrying torches. Caleb fired a single warning shot that splintered wood inches from the lead rider's head. The precision, executed in darkness at over 100 yards, sent the would-be arsonists fleeing. You could have killed them, Eleanor noted over breakfast. Could have. Chose not to. Dead men tell no tales about who sent them. The failed intimidation marked a turning point. The company's approach shifted to subtle pressure. Supplies arrived damaged or not at all. Locals became distant. Hard-faced men with the bearing of hired guns established a constant presence in town. They're preparing for something, Caleb warned after observing 3 such men taking rooms at the hotel. Then we must accelerate our timeline, Eleanor replied. I've nearly completed my analysis. Once documented, the evidence can be sent to authorities. You're assuming the authorities aren't already compromised. Eleanor's expression suggested she'd considered this, which is why we need leverage beyond mere legal claims. A commotion outside interrupted them. A medicinal wagon had arrived, driven by an elderly Native American man. Its occupant, Dr. Samuel Chen, was a Chinese-American physician whose impeccable English and confident demeanor spoke of formal education. Eleanor, he greeted warmly. Your message found me in Bismarck. Mr. Vance, this is Dr. Chen, my mentor from Philadelphia and my uncle's closest friend. Chen assessed Caleb with a physician's eye. The famous Sharpshooter, I see the toll your profession has taken. Chen's arrival transformed the trading post's atmosphere. The laboratory expanded, equipment was unpacked from hidden storage, and Eleanor's research intensified. Caleb found himself increasingly drawn into their work. His military experience proved valuable in unexpected ways. His knowledge of terrain, strategic thinking, and steady hands when precision was required. You have a natural talent for laboratory work, Chen observed. The same skills that make you an exceptional marksman. Different applications of the same abilities, Caleb acknowledged. though creating medicines is more satisfying than taking lives. As days passed, Caleb pieced together the true nature of their work. The coal deposits were real, but Eleanor and Chen's research extended beyond geological documentation. The coal seams contain unusual mineral compounds with remarkable medicinal properties, Eleanor explained when confronted. My uncle discovered that local tribes had been using coal dust in healing rituals for generations, and found something valuable enough to get him killed. He found a potential treatment for tuberculosis, Chen interjected, a disease that kills thousands annually. His preliminary results showed a 70% reduction in symptoms. So this isn't about land rights or coal, it's about medicine. It's about both, Eleanor corrected. Hudson Bay discovered what my uncle was researching. Rather than partner with him, they chose to eliminate him and claim the discovery. But they need control of this specific territory. And you need proof of your uncle's work to establish prior claim. Precisely. If they secure these deposits, they'll control access to a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives. They'll make it available only to those who can pay exorbitant prices. While we intend to ensure it's accessible to all, Chen added. The moral clarity struck Caleb deeply. For years he'd existed in gray areas, taking jobs without questioning their larger purpose. Now he found himself aligned with a cause that offered something he'd thought lost forever: redemption. Their confrontation came sooner than anticipated. The arrival of additional gunmen signaled a shift from intimidation to imminent action. They're planning to move against us tonight, Caleb informed the others. At least 8 men. Our documentation is complete, Chen replied, sealing packets containing their research. These need to reach the territorial governor and Washington. No one's getting through their perimeter. Eleanor revealed their contingency plan. There's another way out, a series of caves that connect to the river valley. My uncle mapped them years ago. And you neglected to mention this until now? Because it's not an escape route for us, Eleanor clarified. It's a delivery route for our research. We stay and defend, create a distraction significant enough that a single rider might slip away unnoticed. As night fell, the trading post transformed into a fortress. Caleb directed preparations with precision, establishing interlocking fields of fire that would make any approach costly. The attack began shortly after midnight. A coordinated assault designed to overwhelm quickly. What the company's hired guns hadn't anticipated was facing a legendary marksman who had spent days preparing for precisely this scenario. Caleb's first shot took down the operation's leader at nearly 300 yards, transforming an organized assault into momentary chaos. His second and third found equally strategic targets, while Eleanor and Chen provided supporting fire. During the lull that followed, their Native American allies slipped away with the documentation through the cave entrance, concealed behind the trading post's root cellar. The second assault came from multiple directions simultaneously. Incendiary arrows arced toward the roof, forcing Eleanor to abandon her position to address the fires. They're trying to smoke us out, Caleb called, picking off another gunman. The building is more fire-resistant than it appears, Eleanor replied. My uncle incorporated iron sheeting between the roof layers. Dawn brought an unexpected development. Dozens of mounted Lakota warriors appeared on the horizon, led by Chief Gray Wolf, whom Eleanor identified as her uncle's blood brother. The company's men, caught between defenders and a significant native force, called for a ceasefire. Chief Gray Wolf addressed not just the company men but the gathered townspeople. This land has been Lakota hunting ground since before your grandfathers were born. We allowed settlements because Jacob Blackwood traded fairly and respected our ways. He produced an official document bearing government seals. This land is now protected territory under joint Lakota and federal administration. The mining rights belong to the Blackwood Lakota Trust, established to ensure the medicine reaches all who need it. Eleanor stepped forward. My uncle spent years building relationships with both the Lakota Nation and federal authorities. He recognized that the traditional trading post would eventually become obsolete, but the knowledge gained here could serve a greater purpose. The confrontation ended with the Hudson Bay Company's retreat. Without legal standing to challenge the treaty provisions and facing both armed resistance and Native American allies with federal backing, they had no choice but to abandon their plans. In the aftermath, the trading post would be transformed into a research facility and clinic, combining Western medical knowledge with traditional Native healing practices. "You orchestrated this entire scenario," Caleb observed as they watched the last company men depart. Eleanor had the grace to look slightly abashed. "Not entirely. We needed genuine protection while finalizing our documentation and securing the treaty ratification." "And now?" he asked, suddenly aware that his employment had concluded. "Now you have choices, Mr. Vance. We're establishing something unprecedented here, a place where science and traditional knowledge work in harmony, where healing takes precedence over profit. I'm no doctor. My skills lie in ending lives, not saving them." "Yet you defended our work with precision that minimized casualties," Chen noted, "and you've demonstrated aptitude for the methodical work our research requires." "We need someone who understands security, logistics, and frontier operations," Eleanor added. "Someone whose eye sees what others miss." The intentional reference to his disability, spoken not with pity but with recognition of his compensatory strengths, struck Caleb deeply. For years, he'd defined himself by what he'd lost. Now these unlikely allies were offering a chance to define himself by what remained and what might yet be built. "I'm not sure I'm the man you think I am," he said finally. "None of us are ever quite who others think we are," Eleanor replied, "or even who we think ourselves to be. The question is, who we choose to become when opportunity presents itself." As the sun rose over Redemption Creek, Caleb Vance made his choice. The sharpshooter who had once measured his worth in confirmed kills would now measure it in lives improved, in knowledge preserved, in purpose restored.